History is often written by the victors, but the shadows of the past rarely stay silent. Today, we dive into one of the most controversial chapters of the Philippine-American War, a question that has sparked a century of debate. Who really ordered the assassination of General Antonio Luna? Was it a necessary act of discipline, a tragic misunderstanding, or a cold-blooded betrayal? Luna didn't just die, he was obliterated, suffering over 30 wounds from bullets, bayonets, and bullets. Today, we examine the evidence in the case study number 5. Good day, Succeed 11! I hope everyone is doing fine. And before we dive into the topic, let us first know who is General Antonio Luna. Now, let us proceed. We can see the background of General Antonio Luna pasted on the bulletin. Shall we all read it? So, Mr. Antonio Luna was born on October 29, 1866 in Binondo, Manila. He was highly educated and studied in Spain, majoring in pharmacy, chemistry, and literature. He initially supported reforms rather than revolution. He later joined the nationalist movement after witnessing Spanish abuses. He became a general under Emilio Aguinaldo, and he was known for his strict discipline and strong leadership, often clashed with the Filipino officers due to his personality. So, Antonio Luna was very strict at that time. He was very particular with kanang neat uniforms and the rules. If he sees a soldier with kanang dili ra clean or kanang wala ra na plancha nga uniform, he would automatically kanang kuan tangtang ato nga officer sa position. He was really that strict at his time. That's why a lot of kanang historians kanang debated nga maybe he was killed because of being strict and because of his attitudes towards to his fellow soldiers kay kanang kuan si Antonio Luna is most of his soldiers nga naa niya kay kanang most of them kay forced nga mo laban makigdigma and some of them were kanang they got no choice. Now let us proceed with the assassination of General Antonio Luna and where it occurred. So it states here that General Antonio Luna received a telegram inviting him to a meeting with Emilio Aguinaldo. When he arrived in Cabanatuan, Nueva Ecija on June 5, 1899, Aguinaldo was not present. Instead, he encountered members of the Kawit Battalion who were known to dislike him. At the height of tensions between Luna and factions within the revolutionary government, he was reportedly lured into a trap and attacked by a group of Filipino soldiers, allegedly acting under orders from higher authorities. He was killed at the same day. When we look at the next slide, we provided the telegram that was sent to General Antonio Luna the day he was killed. So, the letter or the telegram reads as President of the Republic to the Secretary of War, Dagupan, paging for an important meeting. Therefore, you are ordered to come here immediately. This is in response to your previous telegram about urgent matters to discuss. It is really an emergency. So this was the telegram or the letter that was sent to General Antonio Luna the day he was killed. So that is all for my part. I'm going to give you to the next reporter. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. So, for this part, we will discuss to you the different accounts from the historians and their interpretation on who really ordered the assassination of General Antonio Luna. First, let's tackle the official government narratives. This is based on the former President Emilio Aguinaldo's memoirs and official statements. So, according to this account, the incident was an unplanned tragedy. The government claims that Luna's death wasn't planned and it just happened during a heated argument. So, the Aguinaldo administration insisted that he never gave instructions to kill Luna, and this statement aims to remove him from direct responsibility and preserve his image as a leader. So he entirely denied the accusation by saying that there wasn't any assassination order from him. And the violence was contributed to a personal vendetta or a mutiny, sparked by Luna's notorious temper and his history of disciplining the Kawit Battalion. Because the Kawit Battalion was trained by Luna himself, and maybe they said that maybe they had an argument because of personal grudge on how they were treated by Luna during their training or as a soldier in their battalion. So the government framed it as an unfortunate physical confrontation between a superior officer and disgruntled subordinates. So they framed the event as a military misunderstanding, not a political assassination. So we can conclude from this that the official accounts portrays Luna's death as accidental and was only caused by personal conflict and internal tensions and not by political motives.
Good day everyone. So today we'll tackle about eyewitness and eyewitness testimonies. So in eyewitness and eyewitness testimonies provide an alternative perspective on the assassination of General Antonio Luna, contrasting the official government narrative. These accounts come from people close to Luna, including his aides such as Captain Eduardo Rusca. So in premeditated ambush, testimonies suggest that Luna's assassination was planned in advance rather than being a spontaneous act of violence. The term premeditated ambush indicates deliberate coordination by those involved. In telegram summons, Luna was reportedly summoned to the Cabanatuan convent via telegram allegedly signed by President Emilio Aguinaldo. However, Aguinaldo was absent, having left for San Isidro, Nueva Ecija, which suggests a possible setup to lure Luna into a trap. In the hostile atmosphere, witnesses observed that the soldiers present were visibly hostile and appeared ready for an attack, implying that the assassination was not an isolated incident but involved multiple participants acting with intent. In the nature of his wounds, Luna's injuries involved both multiple stabs and gunshots, suggesting overkill. This detail indicates a coordinated attack rather than a scuffle that escalated spontaneously. So these testimonies challenge the government's portrayal of Luna's death as a personal dispute, presenting it instead as a politically motivated act carried out with a careful planning and execution. So, the eyewitness and eyewitness testimonies serve to contrast the official government narrative, highlighting inconsistencies and possible cover-ups, while the government framed the event as an accidental confrontation between Luna and his subordinates. Eyewitnesses and eyewitnesses suggest that assassination was strategically orchestrated, implying higher-level complicity. The hostile behavior of soldiers, Luna's targeted summoning, and the excessive nature of his wounds all support the argument that his death was not spontaneous but a planned act of political elimination. So today, we'll tackle about Teodoro Agoncillo. So Teodoro Agoncillo is a respected Filipino historian, provides an academic and analytical perspective on General Antonio Luna's assassination. In his book Malolos entitled The Crisis of the Republic, Agoncillo discusses the concept of command responsibility, arguing that even if Emilio Aguinaldo did not personally carry out the assassination, he was at least indirectly responsible. So, Aguinaldo is considered accountable because he held the ultimate authority over the Kwait Battalion whose members carried out the assassination. The perpetrators of the assassination were never investigated or punished, it suggesting tolerance or approval from higher leadership. So, Agoncillo interprets this lack of accountability as silent proof that the assassination had either tacit approval or at least was condoned by the government leadership. Unlike eyewitness accounts, Agoncillo's interpretation is analytical, using the absence of justice as evidence of political complicity. It emphasized that actions or inactions by leaderships can serve as indirect responsibility in historical events. So, Agoncillo's account provides a third layer of perspective beyond the official narrative and eyewitness testimonies. While official records aim to minimize government involvement, and eyewitness accounts show the immediate circumstances, Agoncillo examines structural responsibility and the political environment. His analysis suggests that Luna's assassination was not just a spontaneous or isolated incident, but one enabled by the inaction or tolerance of the highest levels of leadership.
So next, let us tackle the account from Renato Constantino, a historian. So for him, he claims that the event was a structural and political conflict. So in the Philippines, a pastor visited, Constantino views Luna's death as a symptom of deeper internal struggle. So he pits the elite leadership against the radical reformist discipline that Luna represented. So Luna's assassination reflects a deeper internal struggle within the revolutionary government, and it was beyond personal conflict. So he identifies a clash between the elite leadership and Luna's radical military discipline. So while Luna sought a professional and equal army, the powerful leaders favored favoritism and personal connections. So Constantino argues that the government failed one of its most capable generals, and Luna's professionalism threatened existing power structures, and his removal served those in control. So for Constantino's account, Luna's death was political, a result of internal power struggles and weak leadership, not an accident. So the officials that time weren't in favor of Luna because Luna hindered their goals or their personal interests. So they govern the people for their personal interest, for their own benefit. So Luna was more of a radical leader. So they clashed with each other, and so Constantino claims that it was a political conflict. So next, we have Vencio Jose, also a historian. So for his account, he claims that it was a professionalism versus regionalism conflict. So often cited in his seminal work, The Rise and Fall of Antonio Luna, Jose focuses on the friction between Luna's modern professional military standards and deep-seated regionalism or cronyism of the Revolutionary Army. So he suggests that Luna's attempts to impose national discipline over personal loyalties made his death almost inevitable in that political climate. So for Jose, or for Soriana Vivencio Jose, the event highlights a structural and cultural issue. So Luna's push for disciplined national army conflict with soldiers' regional loyalties. So many of the soldiers favored the leaders from their hometowns, and like they have favoritism, or like they have personal favorites and over national command. So deep-seated regionalism and cronyism created bias, disunity, and resistance to Luna's reform. So these tension made his assassination almost inevitable. So the system itself, rather than a single person, contributed to his death. So his view focuses on cultural and structural problems, showing that Luna's death was a consequence of systematic issues rather, and resistance to change.
Now that we've discussed the earlier historical interpretations, let's move on to modern historians who re-examine the evidence using primary sources. So, according to Lisa Guerrero Nakpil, a key piece of evidence may directly link Emilio Aguinaldo to the death of Antonio Luna because it's a physical evidence. As a consultant for Leon Gallery, where high-profile historical documents are often auctioned, Nakpil views this archaic document as a smoking gun. But why is that? That's because it could serve as a strong physical proof of Aguinaldo's involvement. So her claim shifts the narrative from Luna's death being a result of a spontaneous heat-of-the-moment skirmish with the Kawit Battalion to it being a premeditated act sanctioned by the highest levels of the revolutionary government. So she argues that instead of Luna's death being a spontaneous act caused by personal conflict, the document suggests it may have been a premeditated assassination, planned and approved at higher levels of revolutionary government. This shifts the narrative significantly from a simple misunderstanding or clash of personalities to a more deliberate political decision. On the other hand, though, Ambeth Ocampo offers a slightly different but related interpretation. He claims that the document was part of a coordinated trap involving multiple communications. After examining the primary sources, Ocampo argues that the telegram sent to Luna was not just a single message, but part of a series of coordinated communications. So, he claims it was one of 4 telegrams sent to Luna. By situating the document within a sequence of messages, Ocampo suggests a calculated military or political maneuver designed to lure Luna to Cabanatuan. So according to him, there were actually multiple telegrams sent to Luna, which suggests a more organized and deliberate plan. So because of this, Ocampo believes that Luna may have been intentionally lured to Cabanatuan, placing him in a vulnerable position away from his loyal troops. So this supports the idea that the assassination was not accidental, but carefully planned. So based on the analysis of these modern historians, we can see how evidence and interpretations continue to reshape our understanding of Luna's death. But this leads us to a much bigger question. Can we ever truly determine who was responsible?
Now, let's move on to the next historian about his viewpoint during the assassination of Antonio Luna. He is Xiao Chua. So, Xiao Chua focuses on the forensic and paleographic aspect evidences of the document that is authentic based on its physical characteristic, especially the penmanship. So, at this point, gipamatud-an ni Xiao Chua ang iyang mga nadiskubrihan sa una nga mga historian nga ang penmanship or suwat sa kamot ang naghatag og tinuod nga mga evidence nga nagpamatuod if unsa jud ang nahitabo or unsa ka importante ang suwat sa kamot kaysa sa oral nga mga evidences. Aron sad mabal-an jud if unsay tinuod nga nahitabo ni Antonio Luna during that time or kinsa jud ang involved sa nahitabo ni Antonio Luna during that time. So he collaborates the findings of the other historian by validating the handwriting. So by confirming that the document bears the actual penmanship of the slain heroes. So Chua gave more attention about the physical evidences, especially the penmanship, rather than the oral evidences. He believed that the document is real and authentic because the penmanship matches genuine writing from that time. So this means that the document is likely true. Tinuod siya gikan sa primary source. Not dili siya fake. So makita jud sa penmanship og unsa jud ang nahitabo, or makita jud if nakasuwat siya through handwriting aron makuha ang exact information, exact evidence sa mga panghitabo during this time, especially sa assassination ni Antonio Luna, because the penmanship is authentic. So historian should take its content seriously when studying Luna's death. So Chua's saying the document is real, so we can trust it as an evidence during that time. And now let's move on to the next, the last but not the least. He is si Christopher Passion. So Passion emphasized the importance of the document as a primary source of the document, bridges the gap between the historical suspicion and evidentiary proof. So at this point, para sa ni Passion, ang mga evidence nga gikan sa baba o sa mga document nga nakuha nga napamatuod nga at this time involved daw si Aguinaldo sa nahitabo ni Antonio Luna. But Passion also believe nga dili daw enough ang oral tradition or oral ra mga evidences, and a document lang ang ilang basihan or makuha nila ang exact evidence to prove if unsa jud ang nahitabo ni Antonio Luna during that time. Need jud nila ang exact resources, exact link, or exact information, or ang sumpay sa maong panghitabo to prove nga kinsa jud ang involved sa nahitabo ni Antonio Luna during those time. Tungod kay before, many people, daghang mga tao only had suspicious or stories that si Aguinaldo was involved sa nahitabo ni Antonio Luna. Maong niingon si Passion nga that a document act a missing link that connects Aguinaldo's more directly to the assassination. So it turns a theory stronger evidence, most like proof. Passion is saying, niingon siya nga, this document helps prove that Aguinaldo was involved also. So silbi, ani nga part or ani nga theory ni, kanang ani nga claim ni Passion, iyang point ani is serve as a primary source to know the exact evidence of unsa jud ang tinuod nga hinungdan nganong nahitabo tong assassination ni Antonio Luna. So mausad na iyahang viewpoint.
Ending the debate, the generally accepted story is that Luna was on his way to meet with Aguinaldo after receiving 2 telegrams regarding important meetings. While approaching Aguinaldo's headquarters in Cabanatuan, Nueva Ecija, on June 5, 1899, he had a quarrel with some of the soldiers stationed and was stabbed and hacked at least 30 times. In the decades after the Philippine-American War, some accused Aguinaldo of ordering Luna to go to Cabanatuan knowing that the latter would be attacked. Antonio K. Abad said in a book published in 1926 that at least one of the telegrams was sent by Aguinaldo. General Venancio Concepcion, according to historian Theodore Agoncillo's book Malolos, Crisis of the Republic, defended Aguinaldo by saying that he was extremely shocked when he learned about Luna's death. Aguinaldo is also said to have remarked that if he wanted Luna dead, he would have had the general killed in a battle and pinned the blame on the Americans instead of killing Luna near his headquarters, since such a move would obviously arouse suspicion.
Ending the debate, Agoncillo later defended Aguinaldo by saying that the late president's rule could not be proven due to there being no physical proof that he had sent a telegram to Luna. Agoncillo's defense of Emilio Aguinaldo highlights the issue of historical evidence. He argues that without concrete proof, such as the Alleg telegram, it is difficult to directly link Aguinaldo to the death of Antonio Luna. This shows how historians like Teodoro Agoncillo rely on available documents and sources, and when evidence is missing, conclusions remain debated rather than certain. The conclusion, the assassination of Antonio Luna remains a significant and contentious event in Philippine history. The various theories and controversies surrounding his death highlight the complexities of the Philippine Revolution and the struggle for independence. Further research and analysis are necessary to unravel the truth behind Luna's assassination and its lasting impact on the nation. The question of who ordered the assassination of Antonio Luna remains unresolved, shaped by conflicting accounts and historical debates. While evidence points to internal conflicts within the revolutionary leadership, no single narrative can fully explain the event. Ultimately, Luna's death reflects the deep divisions during the struggle for independence, reminding us that the fight for freedom was not only against foreign powers but also within the nation itself. That would be all. Thank you.